insights. We're now joined live by Mr. Ahmed Al-Burai, who's a lecturer at Istanbul's Aydin University. Thank you for joining us, Professor. Now, before the king arrived, Russia said it is willing to discuss the situation in the Middle East, including the Syrian conflict. How would closer ties between Russia and Saudi Arabia affect the Middle East?
It will definitely affect the situation here in the Middle East, starting by the situation in Syria. We all know that the de-escalation agreement between Iran, Turkey and Russia can be successful and can have an opportunity of achieving its goals by the involvement of Saudi Arabia, and because they do have a lot of influence on some of the rebel groups in Syria. Recently, with the patronage of Saudi Arabia, Egypt mediated a negotiation between the East Ghouta rebels in Syria and the Russian government to mediate the ceasefire and the de-escalation. So it is very essential for Saudi Arabia to be involved in Syria. That's from the one hand. From the other hand, in Yemen, as you said, Russia recently accepted the nomination of the Abd Rabbu Mansour Hadi, who is the Yemeni president in Saudi Arabia and who is the enemy of the Houthi proxy that is backed by Iran. So this is a clear indication that also Russia is involved in Yemen to find a political solution there. And the most important thing as well is the divergence with Iran. There seems to be, after Rouhani's visit in March, that didn't come out with anything new, more than non-obligatory memoranda of understanding. Now what's happening, it seems that there is a rapprochement between Russia from the one hand and Saudi Arabia on the other hand, a divergence from Iran.
Now, apart from their common interest in the oil market, what are the factors that are drawing Saudi Arabia and Russia closer, and what could limit the future of development of their ties?
For the Saudis, it is very essential for many reasons. The first of all is Qatar, for example, is one of the things that Saudi Arabia, it's a headache for Saudi Arabia, and they want to offer those who work with Qatar an alternative. Qatar has recently bought a big share of the gas companies in Russia. Saudi Arabia wants to offer itself as an alternative to Qatar in an attempt to trying to ostracize them. The other thing, which is the silent ally of Russia in the Middle East, and that is Israel. Israel is highly interested in isolating Iran, and they're pushing for this. Of course, Russia is not going to completely abandon Iran, but at the same time, they cannot make Israel angry, especially with the agreements between Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates, the ally of Saudi Arabia, and Israel on many of the Middle East issues. So Russia should be involved in this kind of coalition in attempt to isolate Iran. The other important thing is Russia is not highly interested in some of Iran's war games, like what's going on in Yemen. They are allies, of course, but at the end of the day, Russia does have a lot on the table. After they settle down the issue of Bashar al-Assad in Syria, I do think that these kind of competing issues are going to resurface, and Iran is going to change its geopolitical interest in the whole region in terms of the relation with the Saudis, the relations with Turkey. So things may change immediately, and they may reshuffle all the strategic ties in the region.
All right, thank you very much, Professor, joining us live from Istanbul there. Thank you so much.